friend, my name is Doompape, and today we're going to be talking about Death Parade. But first, I want to apologize for the mess I've got going on in the background. My mom's visiting, and this is kind of where she's staying. And if you can hear background noise, I'm sorry. Kyle's playing video games, and this guy is like mowing the lawn right outside my window for like half an hour straight. Death Parade was released in 2013 by Funimation and is about the story of Dekum and Chiyuki. When two people die at the exact same time, they are put in a sort of part of the afterlife that is run by mysterious bartenders known as arbiters. Their memory's gone, and being completely unaware of the fact that they're dead, they're forced to partake in a sort of death game where their lives are supposedly on the line. And this is done so it brings out their true nature, the dark part of their soul, which helps the arbiters make a decision in whether or not they are to be reincarnated or if they're to be sent to the void. When the black-haired woman named Chiyuki enters Dekum's bar, she sticks around for a while and acts as a sort of assistant. She helps Dekum understand that human nature really isn't as complex as he makes it out to be, and to make him realize that some of his tactics may actually be causing him to be misjudging people. Let me start off by saying that this opening was very, very good for an anime that isn't this. The music was incredibly catchy, and the lyrics went in sync with the main plot of the anime for the most part, but the anime and the opening just didn't match. As I said before, the opening is supposed to set the mood for each episode. An opening is supposed to give the viewer an idea of what they're about to watch. It's supposed to represent the anime, and this didn't do that. I mean, where's all of this energy? The opening makes this out to be some sort of fun casino, and I genuinely felt misled because of that, because I didn't know anything about this anime until I just clicked on it, and then I saw the opening, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so fun, and it actually ended up being really dark. Other than that though, this, as I said, is amazing. It's fun, it's energetic, the song is really catchy, and overall, I just really liked the opening. I just wish it wasn't used for Death Parade. The chosen song for the closing was kind of boring. Sorry. It's just a generic alternative rock song that didn't stand out to me at all and just felt really uninspired. The only reason I gave this a 7 out of 10 instead of something like a 5 was because I really liked how the closing was sort of personalized to each episode. Whether it be about Dekum, Chiyuki, or one of the deceased, the closing is personalized so that it shows and represents that character, whoever was the main focus for the episode, and that much impressed me. I want to clarify right off the bat that in terms of an underlying plot or a main story, Death Parade really doesn't have one. Instead, it sort of runs on a one-shot story per episode that has a tiny trickle of a main plot that doesn't really make itself known until the end, which is when the anime starts to wrap up. That's not really a bad thing, not at all. You see, the writing for this anime is actually still very good. Despite knowing that each character is already dead, I would still feel really bad for them. If they took a sacrifice for the other person, the way that the scene was written made it seem like it was a legitimate sacrifice, and maybe in a sense it was, but I mean, they're already dead, so it's not like they're about to lose their lives or anything, so you kind of know what I'm going for. The writers did such a good job on creating these characters that they actually felt important. They felt like people that had lives and genuine emotions. There were points where I actually felt angry for a couple of the characters because they didn't really deserve to have that happen to them. But then the actual big plot started to unfold, and that's really when just shit started to go downhill. I mean, they kept introducing these useless characters that really didn't feel important or even necessary to be there, but then the writers kept trying to legitimize them and say, hey, no, they really are important, and you're kind of sitting there like, how? Then they brought in this Oracle guy who just started to be a dick for no real reason from what I could tell. Even if they had kept the episode of Jinty to sort of emphasize that it's not just Dekum making the false judgments, I feel like it would have been better if they just stuck with Dekum, Nona, and Chiyuki, because every time they tried to do something else, it didn't turn over well. The story probably would have received a 9 out of 10 for me, but, you know, they kind of ruined it. And you're probably wondering why I said 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10 if I'm pretty much just ranting and raving about how well written the episodes are. Well, I don't quite understand why they kept Chiyuki at Quindecum. I mean, sure, she was a special case, but once Nona took care of what was making her a special case, then they could have just judged her and then sent her on to be reincarnated or sent to the void, but they didn't. They just kept her around, and I don't understand why, because they never really explained it. And I usually don't cover endings, but Death Parade's ending was very good. A lot of anime just kind of stop without giving you some sort of sense of closure, but the ending really delivered. You felt the story come to a close. I mean, Chiyuki finally was judged to be reincarnated, and you see Deku move on as an arbiter. The ending made sense, and I didn't feel like anything was missing. It was a very satisfying ending. Also, I do kind of wish they went a little more into the world. I mean, they glazed over the concepts of the Void and the Information Bureau and the various levels, but they really didn't do anything more than just giving you the absolute bare minimum just so you understand what's going on. And it's not something that detracted from the story overall. I mean, I still very much enjoyed the writing of the anime. It's just sort of like, I'm curious, and I'm one of those people where I know there's someone going to be like, oh, you need to go read the manga that you don't know exists, or you need to go watch a movie that was the prequel to this. And it's like, yeah, well, I'm kind of talking about the anime. The first thing I want to talk about is I very much liked the work that went into creating the characters and the world. The character designs were unique and fun without being over the top, and that stuck out at me almost immediately. So that much impressed me. However, I do have a grievance with the way that the women are designed, and before you ruffle your feathers at me, I'm not talking about them being like hypersexualized or anything, because that wasn't an issue. No, I'm talking about like their hips and their thighs, because I don't know who designed these characters, but it clearly wasn't a woman, because female anatomy does not work that way. It looks like their legs are broken. Also, I don't understand why the masks are over the elevators. There's one elevator that has a white mask over it, indicating that the person in that elevator is to be reincarnated, and then there's the elevator that has the red mask over it, indicating that that person would be sent to the void. However, there would be one person in one elevator, one person in the other, and they both get reincarnated or they both get sent to the void. It's just confusing. And it really did confuse me. It took me a few episodes to realize that the masks weren't really indicating where the people were going. The little lights in the elevators were. The red one that went down meant they're going to the void, and the white one going up meant they were being reincarnated. Beyond that though, I have no complaints. The animation was smooth, the angle changes that they chose really helped set the mood for what was going on, and so on. I also really enjoyed the body expressions that were unique to each character, such as Nona putting her arms in her suspenders. It felt like they were just taking that extra step without having the need to, but they did because they wanted to go that extra mile and sort of personalize each one of their characters. In terms of world design, we really don't get to see much beyond Quindecum. I mean, we get a glimpse into Nona's world, we get a tiny little peek at the Oracle's pool area, and we get one episode for Jinty's bar, but beyond that, the anime is primarily set in Decum's bar, which was very well created. I mean, it had a classy and elegant feel to it. All in all, I really like this anime. I can see myself going back to watch it again. The design was great, the soundtrack was very good. I definitely liked the music that they chose. Really just, the writing really stood out for me. It's something where the main characters weren't the main focus of the anime, and that actually really wasn't confusing. Because usually when they make the main character and then they put him on like the back burner, you're kind of like, alright, well, isn't he the main character? Why isn't he up front? But the way that everything was written, it all came together and it made sense, and overall, I really liked it, and I suggest you guys to go out and watch it. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Death Parade. Have you seen it? Are you gonna see it? Do you really like anything beyond slice of life? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, happy unbirthday, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Because Nibel is a world that is composed of an extraordinary use of colors and detail that is nothing short of visually stunning, even just at the opening menu. Each area looks like it's a painting from a fairy tale that had come to life, and I especially